Welcome to the Light and Love Box channel. You are part of a growing community bringing peace, possibility, and prosperity to help transform our world with light and love. My name's Tracy Anderson.
My name is Jo Courier, and today we once again are joined by author Ana Cortez.
So nice to be here. Thank you so much, you guys.
Yes, so today we are going to be exploring kind of the unfolding saga, if you will, that we are working with in order to develop our monthly full moon ritual boxes for Light and Love Box. So we are utilizing Anna's cards, the Doors of Somlipith. And if you have not seen these cards, I'm going to have a link below so that you can check them out and get your own deck because you don't want to miss them.
They're very unlike anything that most people are familiar with, but once they get them in their hands, it's compelling.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the cards that kind of are leading us into the card that we drew during our ritual for 2024, we actually drew, it's the Castle card, so it's the heart, the Six of Hearts. But we also drew a rune with it as well, and this is Kanu. And this is kind of the hearth, the home, the torch, the opening, if you will. So it also is for transformation as well. So this was a really beautiful pairing between the card and the rune, because the castle is like that place of home and familiarity, and I felt it was a really wonderful connection that was actually made. But the cards leading up, so if you watched last month's video, we touched a little bit about the gates that lead up to this full moon time that we're approaching. And these cards happen to be the Four of Clubs,
which is the east wind.
Yep. The Five of Clubs, which is the wind cloak. And then the Six of Clubs, which is the bridge. And then the Seven of Hearts, which was the sword of healing. So, Anna, would you be willing to kind of just touch on that trinity of cards and kind of how you see their connection to the gates as they unfold as the 4, 5, 6, and then that Seven of Hearts?
Sure. So yeah, so this is a trinity within the club suit. It's a multiple of the number 3. Ace 2-3 is a different zodiac sign. This is the Aquarius composition here, and they take the practitioner through the time period of Aquarius, and that's what we've been traversing, right, as we have been leading up to this full moon. And they're wind cards, like Aquarius is an air sign, and they're very fateful in a sense. They lead us in one direction or another, depending very much upon our choices. And that journey is depicted so sort of poetically through the images on the cards, and some of the pitfalls, right, that one can encounter as they're learning to manage these powerful energies. And we all experience them, and of course the goal is to not experience the pitfalls and to harness the energy for one's, happiness and personal fulfillment. And that's what we're doing here. That's what this work with these cards and this box, together is all about. So I love the rituals, combining that with this card work. It's deep. It can be deep work if you want to take it on that level.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is that with this Trinity really brings us to the place, which the bridge is one of these cards, which is a crossroad. And we individually always have the choice of moving in the direction of that which is for our highest growth and good,
Mhm.
which isn't always comfortable and
Right.
isn't always familiar, or being in the place where we find ourselves either pulled down
Mhm.
because we aren't choosing to move forward and learn and grow, or just wishing that it was always that happy pattern. But I don't think realistically that ever happens. I mean, we all are in this place of this constant, the wind pushes us one direction, it
Mhm.
brings us to a bridge. Are we going to cross? Which direction do we go as after we cross the bridge, if we choose to? And all of those things are very well represented metaphorically and really astrologically with
Yeah.
the cards that come with this month's box. And it always amazes me at the synchronicities or the way that things
Mhm.
align, because we didn't plan for this month's card to be the castle. The castle is what came to us as the card that says, "Yep, I'm the one," and
Mhm.
then the rune with it.
Mhm. Yeah, and this card, the wind cloak, I think this is so just it embodies what we experience as people. We're in this constant struggle, and it's right in our face. We've got all these things we need to deal with. This card is all about things changing suddenly, upheaval, um, and spreading yourself too thin, and
Mhm.
just
Scattered energies.
yes, scattered energy. And so I find it very interesting that every day we battle certain things in our lives that are very um like this card, right? But then just like Joe just said, then you come to this
Yep.
place of a crossroads, and it's time to make a decision.
Yes, right.
We have to decide, are we going to continue living in this struggle, or are we going to take the crossroad that actually leads us to this healing? And I think that if we can start choosing that path of healing more often, then we will find our lives transforming before us.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say that just before we started this video, I was expressing to both Anna and to Tracy that I am feeling right now like this wind cloak has me in its grip. And I am scattered. I feel like I'm being pulled in many, many directions. And I have the tools, but sometimes you just have to be in this place where, okay, perhaps I am scattered in this moment. Okay, recognize it, pull things in, use my tools, and really get myself back to where I'm reaching here, to where there's stability, to
Mhm.
where I feel like I am supported, that I'm home. And like this heart, the Six of Hearts represents, it's the place that my heart really wants to be.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So we just need to pull it together. And in this moment, I recognize it's so funny that this came up because that's exactly how I've been feeling.
I
Mhm.
love how you wove it, how those multiple cards together into that story. It feels really good. And the 5 of clubs is such a potentially powerful card, right? I love the story in the Doors of Somlipith about that card, how the cloak is found by this great alchemist magician, and he intends to use this cape, right, to propel his career and his reputation and so forth to new heights, but it gets the best of him. And I think we all are that magician, and it is a powerful card. And I think that when we do learn how to harness the power of all the four winds
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that are depicted on that card,
Yeah.
that's quite something.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Quite
Yes.
something. And as we touched on before this recording started, that was the time gate of Embark. And I think that that card can lead to some of the deeper mysteries of why that was such a revered planetary alignment.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think beyond all of the cards and the planetary alignments, going back to the premise of what each and every light and love box brings, and that's the opportunity to manifest something, something that is helpful, that is filled with growth, and ultimately then a sense of greater security and self-worth for each person who does the box. And we always try to bring in so many things. So it's very easy to represent the cards and the rune because that is the basis. But then Tracy and I have a lot of fun pulling other things in to help bring the ritual together. And I am married to a geologist, and I have this deep, deep love of stones and crystals. So it's probably one of my favorite parts of helping to do each of these boxes. And I wanted to maybe give a little context as to why the stones or the crystals this month are coming in the box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So for me, I looked at the castle card, and my first thought was, castles, what were they created out of? What was the most common building block or stone that was used? And in doing so, I discovered granite was used in many, many castles. Well, this is actually a piece of granite that has some blue azurite. They're perfectly circular little, we call them azurite blueberries.
Wow.
And this stone is only found on the mountain K2. And so it is a mountain of great height, of strength, and it's also a mountain where a lot of people go to challenge themselves and to discover their own inner strength. So we brought K2 into the box in a way to represent the energies, at least for me in my thinking, of the castle. Okay? And the blue represents, again, a color of a higher vibration. A lot of times we connect it with our communication center, our throat chakra. But the blue also is that which, when we talk about communication in the throat chakra, it's self-talk. It's what we say to ourselves, what we think about ourselves, and that is integral to making changes that create a true lifelong change. When you stop negating or criticizing or even worrying about what other people think, you have created your own inner granite structure of strength.
Wow. I love it. I love it.
We brought 3 other crystals in, or stones, and those, and you'll, in the box, when you do the ritual, you'll see how they are connected to illuminating things and the candles that we brought in. But one of them is a stone that's called sunstone. And I know it's probably not as easy to see here. These little orange flecks reflect in the light, beautiful, almost like a golden shimmer. And sunstone has always been used to help uplift, to
Mm.
raise spirits, and in fact, raise our personal spirits. And they say that sunstone is one of those vibrational aspects that if you have seasonal affective disorder, that this helps you
Mm.
in the midst of those times when you're feeling the lowest or when that's affecting you the most. So sunstone comes into it.
Mhm.
Feel free to chime in.
No,
I'm just chatting
you're
away.
fine. You're doing a great job. No need to interrupt.
The
Teacher mode is
Teacher
set
mode,
in, so we'll
yeah.
just let her do teacher.
I also, this month, I want to show everybody what's called prenite. And it's kind of a green olive-ish stone. And these stones, that particular color, is thought to be a combination of the green, the olive with the green, and when the sunlight comes down onto it, it brings out a different tone. It actually, in green stones, the sunlight brings out the olive aspects to it. But prenite is there to help create the stability and just strength. But I love how it's translucent.
Mhm.
So whereas so many stones and crystals, you can't see through them,
Mhm.
one is almost like you could see what's on the other side.
It feels very water element to me, and the new trinity that uh, you guys are exploring in the box with the heart suit coming in with the 7.
Yep,
Mhm.
Mhm.
very much so. So we brought prenite in. The last one that I want to talk about is a form of obsidian. So
Mhm.
obsidian comes from a volcano. It's a form of glass. But this particular obsidian, and this is a larger piece of it, and if I were to turn it, I don't know, Anna, can you see any gold shimmers on the surface of that as I
Now
turn?
that you mention it, yeah, I definitely can.
It's called gold sheen or golden sheen obsidian. And this particular one, when you polish the obsidian to different depths, there's actually a heart that in the light, as you turn it,
Mm.
emerges
Mm.
from within
I
it.
can
And
see
that's
it.
all natural based on how it's polished. But
Yeah.
obsidian, like an obsidian mirror, allows us to look into ourselves. We use it for a form of divination called scrying. And when we scry, we're looking for guidance, we're looking for answers, and it's very reflective. So on the black surface of the obsidian, we can see our own
Mm.
reflection
Mhm.
first. And then if we allow, there may be other things that come forward when we use that process.
Yeah, so one of the big aspects of the ritual that is going to be done is going to be looking at patterns, patterns in your life, so that you can connect with these elements and work with them to help you release old patterns or thoughts, behaviors that are hindering you and keeping you in this state of
Mhm.
scattering. So I think that this box is going to be very, very powerful in looking at patterns and releasing those patterns to move towards that place of true healing so that you can move forward.
And I think that is both conscious and unconsciously that happens in this ritual, this box, because not everything that we release is always shown to us or
Mm.
that we recognize. You know, many times I think if we even knew the true cause and could name it of one of our patterns or our thought processes or behaviors, then if we could name it, we could work through it. but those things are often almost hidden from us. Our subconscious does that.
Mhm.
But a ritual such as this will allow those to be released even unconsciously.
Well, there's so much illumination energy,
Mhm.
just even with the rune, with just the elements themselves, the candles, the crystals, the stones, everything is
Mhm.
coming together to bring in that energy of illumination so that those things can be seen and released.
Powerful.
Mhm.
I love the ritual for doing that, because I think that is one of the hardest things, right? Is to let go of something that has become a habit, that
Mhm.
you had as a habit for decades potentially.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
And so I love what you guys are doing with your boxes. I think ritual combined with these potent magical elements allows people to achieve things that they would have a really rough time doing just reading a book,
Mhm.
or you know um, otherwise. And I love that you've brought the cards into ritual, because that's what I talk about in the book too, is the importance of ritual, and how these particular cards I've written about more than this deck, and this was the first deck that came through and wanted to be used for ritual.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. um, I think the true potential can be realized only through ritual.
I think many things can only be accomplished through ritual. And I say that because it brings us to a place where that is our entire focus. Yes, we can sit and meditate. We can look for guidance. We could ask for these things to be released. But ritual often brings in so many aspects of energetic aspects is what I'm trying to express. So the elements in and of themselves, you know, air, earth, water, fire, and your own ether, all of those things come together in a very strong and potent way. And
Yeah.
just doing other processes are relaxing and they're beneficial and helpful for sure. But, I can sit in an Epsom salt bath, but it's not going to do the same thing as if I am actually focused on this process. And
Mhm.
ritual allows us to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, you take action, right? You take sacred action that represents
Yeah.
larger actions and that connects to larger actions, and we are physically letting go of things, and it changes our wiring.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
for everything that we are able to transition through, release, let go, or change, it's a ripple effect. We
Mhm.
know that. It's
Yeah.
not just for ourselves personally, but it begins to ripple out not only to those around us, but in an environmental, vibrational way into a much greater area.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, even practically, if you think about it, so if there's something that my husband and I, for example, are kind of button heads on, or we fight about, or whatever that is, if I step back and I heal whatever that trigger is that's
Mhm.
Yes.
contributing to that circumstance, okay, that's now gone, right? So
Mm.
now if that same thing comes up, I start responding differently. Now my husband then can start responding
Bonding.
differently.
Yes.
And that gives him an opportunity to heal. So then he heals something that might have been triggering with someone else. I mean, it's
And
just
then it
like that.
ripples off to
Mhm.
Jeff and I found this with our children.
Yeah.
When we would create this harmony within ourselves by just what you expressed, this opportunity to each of us heal something, then they also benefited because they began to see that
Mhm.
that was no longer a pattern.
Yeah. Yeah. So just from a very practical,
Hmm.
just how people are engaging with one another,
Hmm.
you can see it
Yes.
unfold.
Yes, you can. And isn't it surprising when you see that, oh, that person just completely snapped out of that pattern once I did.
Hmm.
You
Yes.
know, like I released the pattern for both of us
Mhm.
Mhm.
by releasing myself.
Yeah. In the work that my husband and I often do, we recognize that anything that is healed within someone actually ripples back to past generations, those ancestral things,
Mhm.
ancestral wounds,
Mhm.
and also it then ripples into the future
Mhm.
so that
Absolutely.
it has a shift and a change there.
Well, and I just wanna point out, I really strongly believe that the full moon is actually a time where all of time and space opens up at the same time. And so when you do this type of healing in
Mhm.
conjunction with a full moon, I believe that the power of that energy that you are sending out is very amplified and and
Yes.
and has
Mhm.
far-reaching effects because there's a lot we don't understand about time and space just from
Mhm.
a scientific standpoint.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
but from an energetic standpoint, when we work with the full moon, I truly, truly believe that we are sending that energy out to all of time and space.
Mhm.
Like a portal, like a true portal.
Yes.
Mhm. Right.
Mhm.
One of my Peruvian friends and very much a teacher and a mentor has shared that the full moon energy of that full moon in that moment, that's when you want to manifest things that you want to always have stay in place,
Mm,
things that result in lasting and permanence.
mhm.
Yep, lasting change and permanence.
Well, I
Wow.
mean, technically, the full moon is associated with the Norns, so that was, the 3
Hmm.
sisters, past, present, and future. And so I think there's those connections
Hmm.
to it as well.
Oh, yeah, there's so many connections, and we could just keep finding threads to the next one and the next one.
Right.
And
Yeah,
Right.
so I think the moral of this story for me is, you can think you're just home going through these motions. Don't underestimate how big what you're doing is.
Mhm.
You know, there's I think the teeny weeniest part of the universe is the part we can see. There's so much more going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
I
love
know
it.
I
Hmm.
I know a lot of times people are like, "Oh, well, these stones, these crystals, or these candles, everything seems so simple."
or mundane.
Yes, but in reality, um, the energy amplification that I believe happens when you actually work with those these items that are coming in these boxes, I think you you're connecting at such a different level than just a thought you might have, or you
Mhm.
know because yes, we have an extremely powerful mind that can do amazing things, but something special happens when we connect with things outside of ourselves,
Mm,
and I think that energy just amplifies
Mhm. I would
so
agree with
much.
you.
Like, it's hard to explain until you actually start doing
mhm.
rituals.
Yeah, and all the intention that the two of you put into each one of those boxes that you mail out. I mean,
Mhm.
it's palpable in there from the moment the box is opened. And so uh, that is setting the stage and joining with your own energy, and you're already making that connection to
Mm,
something outside of yourself.
mhm,
Yep.
Powerful collective experience.
mhm.
Yeah. I
Well,
love it because I'm here, I'm not going to rituals or, events. So I'm here at home by myself, but I can connect through the box. And I'm sure a lot of other people have that similar situation where we want to connect with others and we know the power of that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, so I love what you're doing. Like you said, rather than just coming up with stuff in your own mind to sort of create something is good. And yet there's like a collective, there's something extraordinary being created.
Mhm.
Mhm. And
Boxes.
And I think the collaboration, honestly, thank
Yes.
you for being a part of it, but that collaboration allows us to really explore
Mhm.
and to hone in on all of those ways that things are interconnected and better ways to represent how
Mhm.
it is that if this process needs to be done, perhaps this box will help someone with it, but maybe they need to do it differently. But it's still, it all is based in the idea that these are ancient, beautiful gifts from the earth, ancient practices, and just like the card decks in your father's paintings, and you being able to bring all of that together, that has
Mhm.
such great, it's such a gift, Anna. And to be able to share that in this way, it's for me, I'm just very honored. So thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you. It's so, I love our threesome. I feel like it was divinely crafted somewhere other. And I just want to throw into the method that you all are working with these cards in the boxes traces back to ancient Egyptian astrology, and we're tapping into that with the way these cards are being used. So there we have that lineage, that's coming from behind even further, like supporting this
Mhm.
effort with a power that you have to um, trust, you know, um, and if you're open to feeling that level of support, it's there.
Mhm.
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, thank you for being part of this month's recording with us again. I
Oh,
look forward
thank
to
you for
next month and
inviting me.
hoping that it'll be the threesome.
Yep. Yes. So I invite you all to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our monthly talks. And we are so thankful that you have joined us, and we look forward to meeting you next month.